Welcome back to the channel, where we dive deep into the most shocking celebrity stories that leave fans stunned and the internet buzzing. Today's episode is one of betrayal, secrecy, and a love triangle that has shaken the entertainment world. This is the story of Manuel and Pamela Chavez, once celebrated as the golden couple, admired for their glamorous lifestyle and seemingly unbreakable bond. But behind the smiles and red carpet appearances, cracks were forming, and those cracks would eventually split their marriage apart. On October 20, 2025, Jay and Pamela officially divorced, citing family disputes as the reason. But was it really just family disagreements? Or was there something darker, more scandalous happening behind closed doors? Because while Pamela was fighting to save her marriage, Jay was hiding a secret, a $250,000 debt that threatened his career and reputation. And in the shadows, another woman was waiting. Her name, Anna. For 3 months, Jay and Anna carried on a secret romance. They were spotted together at restaurants, whispered about by fans, and eventually exposed by insiders who couldn't ignore the truth. Anna wasn't just a fling. She was the woman who agreed to pay off Jay's massive debt. And in return, Jay made the most shocking decision of his life. He left Pamela, divorced her, and married Anna. This isn't just a story about love. It's about money, betrayal, and the choices people make when their backs are against the wall. Was Jay truly in love with Anna, or was this marriage a transaction disguised as romance? And what does Pamela have to say about being replaced so suddenly? Over the next 10 chapters, we'll uncover the rise and fall of Jay and Pamela's marriage, the hidden debt that changed everything, and the scandalous wedding that has everyone talking. So grab your popcorn, because this is going to be one wild ride. Every great story begins with a picture-perfect beginning. For Manuel and Pamela Chavez, that beginning was nothing short of magical. Jay, known for his charisma and sharp sense of style, quickly became a household name. Pamela, with her elegance and warmth, complemented him perfectly. Together, they were the couple everyone admired. The kind of duo that made headlines not for scandals, but for their achievements and appearances. Their relationship seemed like a fairy tale. They attended premieres hand in hand, shared affectionate posts on social media, and built a brand around their love. Fans adored them, and the media painted them as unstoppable. Behind the scenes, however, things weren't always as perfect as they seemed. Family tensions began to creep in. Pamela's relatives reportedly questioned Jay's financial decisions, while Jay felt Pamela's family interfered too much in their private life. Still, the couple managed to keep these disputes hidden from the public eye, maintaining their glamorous image. But the pressure was mounting. Jay's career demanded constant attention, and Pamela often felt sidelined. Rumors began to swirl that Jay was struggling financially, though nothing was confirmed at the time. Pamela stood by him, insisting that they were stronger together. For years, they managed to silence the whispers. They smiled for the cameras, gave interviews about their unbreakable bond, and convinced fans that their love was real. And maybe it was, at least in the beginning. Yet, as we'll see in the chapters ahead, the cracks in their marriage were already forming. The fairy tale was beginning to fade, and the perfect couple was about to face their biggest test. Because while Pamela believed in their love story, Jay was hiding something that would eventually destroy it. Every love story has its challenges, but for Manuel and Pamela Chavez, the challenges weren't just between them. They came from the people closest to them. At first, their marriage seemed untouchable. They were the couple everyone admired, the duo who looked flawless on magazine covers and red carpets. But behind the glamour, family tensions were quietly brewing. Pamela's relatives often questioned Jay's financial decisions, worried that his lifestyle was too extravagant and unsustainable. They whispered about his spending habits, his investments, and whether Pamela was being dragged into a financial storm she didn't deserve. Jay, on the other hand, felt suffocated. He believed Pamela's family interfered too much in their private life, offering opinions on everything from where they should live to how they should raise their children. To Jay, it wasn't advice, it was control. And the more Pamela leaned on her family, the more Jay felt isolated. Arguments began to surface. What started as small disagreements over holidays or family gatherings escalated into heated disputes. Pamela wanted harmony, but Jay wanted independence. Their once perfect relationship was now caught in a tug-of-war between loyalty to family and loyalty to each other. The media didn't see this side of their marriage. On the outside, Jay and Pamela continued to smile for the cameras, post romantic photos, and attend events together. But insiders noticed the tension. Close friends reported that Pamela often looked exhausted, while Jay seemed distracted, as if carrying a burden he couldn't share. That burden, of course, was more than just family drama. Jay was hiding a secret, a massive $250,000 debt that he hadn't confessed to Pamela yet. The pressure of keeping that secret only made the family disputes worse. Every time Pamela's relatives questioned his financial stability, Jay felt the walls closing in. Pamela tried to hold the marriage together. She believed love could overcome family interference, and she defended Jay whenever her relatives criticized him. But the cracks were already forming. Trust was eroding, patience was running thin, and the perfect couple was beginning to unravel. Looking back, many fans say this was the turning point. The family disputes weren't just arguments. They were the first visible signs that Jay and Pamela's marriage was heading toward collapse. And while Pamela fought to protect their love, Jay was already drifting into secrecy, hiding not only his debt, but also the beginnings of a relationship that would change everything. Because while Pamela was battling family drama, Jay was quietly building a connection with someone else. Someone who would soon step out of the shadows and take Pamela's place. Every storm eventually reaches its peak, and for Jay Manuel and Pamela Chavez, that peak came on October 20, 2025, the day their marriage officially ended. For years, they had fought to keep their relationship alive. Pamela believed love could conquer family disputes, financial stress, and the whispers of outsiders. Jay, however, was carrying a secret weight, his mounting debt and his growing attachment to someone else. The tension between them had become unbearable, and the cracks that began with family interference had widened into a chasm too deep to repair. The divorce announcement shocked fans. On paper, the reason was listed as family disputes. It sounded simple, almost ordinary compared to the truth. But insiders knew this wasn't just about disagreements with relatives. This was about betrayal, secrecy, and choices that Pamela never saw coming. Pamela was devastated. She had stood by Jay through criticism, defended him against her family's doubts, and believed their bond was strong enough to survive anything. But when the divorce papers were signed, she realized that Jay had already moved on emotionally. He wasn't just leaving her, he was preparing to replace her. The media frenzy was immediate. Headlines screamed about the end of a golden couple. Fans flooded social media with heartbreak, disbelief, and speculation. Some blamed Pamela's family for interfering too much. Others accused Jay of being selfish, chasing freedom instead of fighting for his marriage. But the truth was far more complicated. Jay wasn't just walking away from Pamela, he was walking toward Anna. The woman who had been quietly waiting in the shadows, the woman who had already agreed to pay off his $250,000 debt, and the woman who had been secretly sharing dinners, conversations, and affection with him for 3 months. Pamela, meanwhile, was left to pick up the pieces. She faced not only the emotional pain of betrayal, but also the public humiliation of being replaced so quickly. Friends described her as heartbroken but resilient, determined not to let the scandal define her. Yet the scars of that October day would remain forever. The divorce wasn't just the end of a marriage. It was the beginning of a scandal that would expose Jay's secrets, Anna's role in his life, and the truth behind the perfect image that had fooled fans for so long. October 20, 2025 will always be remembered as the day Jay and Pamela's fairy tale officially collapsed. But for Jay, it was also the day he set the stage for a new chapter. One that would shock everyone even more. Because while Pamela was grieving, Jay was already planning a wedding. Behind every glamorous smile, there can be a shadow. For Jay Manuel, that shadow was a staggering $250,000 debt. A secret he carried like a ticking time bomb. To the public, Jay appeared successful, confident, and untouchable. His fashion sense, his charisma, and his presence in the entertainment world made him look like a man who had it all. But beneath the surface, financial troubles were quietly consuming him. The debt wasn't just a small misstep. It was a mountain that threatened to collapse his career, his reputation, and his marriage. Pamela Chavez had no idea how deep the problem ran. She knew Jay was stressed, distracted, and often distant, but she believed it was the pressure of fame. What she didn't know was that Jay was hiding overdue payments, failed investments, and obligations he couldn't meet. Every time Pamela's family questioned his financial stability, Jay felt the sting of truth. They were right, and he was terrified of being exposed. The debt became the silent third party in their marriage. It fueled arguments, created distance, and pushed Jay into secrecy. He couldn't bring himself to confess to Pamela, fearing she would see him as weak or irresponsible. Instead, he carried the burden alone, pretending everything was fine while the walls closed in around him. And then came Anna. Anna wasn't just a secret girlfriend. She was Jay's lifeline. When Jay confided in her about the debt, she didn't judge him. Instead, she offered a solution. She would pay it off. The promise of financial freedom was intoxicating. For Jay, it wasn't just about love anymore. It was about survival. Anna's willingness to shoulder his $250,000 debt gave him a way out, a chance to escape the storm that had been haunting him for years. This decision changed everything. Suddenly, Jay saw Anna not only as a romantic partner, but as the answer to his problems. Pamela, who had stood by him through family disputes, was now overshadowed by Anna's financial rescue. The scales tipped, and Jay's loyalty shifted. The debt wasn't just numbers on paper. It was the catalyst that destroyed his marriage. It pushed him into secrecy, drove him into Anna's arms, and ultimately led to the divorce that shocked the world. For Pamela, the truth about the debt would come later, adding another layer of betrayal to an already broken heart. For Jay, it was the reason he made the most controversial decision of his life, leaving Pamela and marrying Anna. Every scandal has a turning point, and for Jay Manuel, that turning point had a name: Anna. For months, Anna had been nothing more than a whisper in the background, a shadow in the corner of Jay's life. While Pamela Chavez was fighting to hold their marriage together, Anna was quietly becoming the person Jay leaned on. She wasn't part of the glamorous public image. She wasn't photographed on red carpets, and she wasn't featured in glossy magazines. But behind closed doors, Anna was the one who knew Jay's deepest secrets. Their relationship began discreetly. At first, it was just conversations. Late-night talks, private meetings, moments of comfort when Jay felt overwhelmed by debt and family disputes. But those conversations quickly turned into something more. Within weeks, Jay and Anna were inseparable in private, sharing dinners at restaurants where they thought no one would notice. Of course, people did notice. Fans claimed to have seen Jay several times in different restaurants, but he wasn't alone. He was with Anna. The sightings sparked rumors, whispers that Jay was cheating, though nothing was confirmed at the time. Still, the evidence was mounting, and insiders began to suspect that Anna was more than just a friend. Anna's role in Jay's life grew stronger when she agreed to pay off his $250,000 debt. That decision wasn't just financial, it was emotional. It showed Jay that Anna was willing to sacrifice for him, to protect him from the storm that threatened to destroy his career. For Jay, it was intoxicating. Pamela had stood by him for years, but Anna offered something Pamela couldn't: immediate salvation. This wasn't just romance. It was survival, and Jay, desperate to escape the weight of his debt and the constant family disputes, chose Anna as his lifeline. Pamela, meanwhile, had no idea how deep the betrayal ran. She believed Jay was distracted by work, stressed by finances, and distant because of family drama. She didn't know that another woman was already filling the space she once occupied. By the time the divorce papers were signed, Anna was no longer a secret. She was the future. Jay's decision to marry her wasn't just about love. It was about gratitude, loyalty, and the promise of a fresh start. Anna's appearance changed everything. She wasn't just the hidden girlfriend. She was the woman who turned Jay's life upside down, the catalyst for the scandal that would dominate headlines, and the reason Pamela's fairy tale came crashing down. From this point forward, Anna wasn't in the shadows anymore. She was center stage. Scandals rarely stay hidden forever. For Jay, Manuel, and Anna, secrecy was their greatest weapon, but also their greatest weakness. For 3 months, Jay and Anna carried on their romance in the shadows. They weren't reckless, but they weren't invisible either. Fans began to notice. In different cities, at different restaurants, Jay was spotted, but not with Pamela. He was with Anna. At first, the sightings seemed harmless. A casual dinner, a quiet corner table, a late-night coffee run. But the frequency raised eyebrows. Why was Jay spending so much time with this mysterious woman? And why did Pamela never appear by his side? Whispers spread quickly. Social media lit up with posts claiming Jay had been seen with someone new. Some fans dismissed it as gossip, while others insisted they had proof. Photos began to circulate, grainy, blurry shots of Jay sitting across from Anna, leaning in close, laughing, sharing moments that looked far too intimate to be innocent. The rumors grew louder. Insiders whispered that Anna wasn't just a friend. She was the woman who had agreed to pay off Jay's $250,000 debt. Suddenly, the story wasn't just about romance. It was about survival, betrayal, and a secret arrangement that explained why Jay seemed so devoted to her. Pamela, meanwhile, was left in the dark. She believed Jay's late nights were about work, his absences about stress, and his distractions about family disputes. But the truth was far more painful. While she was fighting to save their marriage, Jay was building a new one in secret. The public began to connect the dots. The divorce announcement on October 20, 2025, no longer seemed like a simple case of family disputes. It looked like the inevitable result of 3 months of secrecy, 3 months of dinners, whispers, and stolen moments with Anna. For Jay, the risk of being exposed didn't matter anymore. He had already made his choice. Anna wasn't just a girlfriend. She was his future. And the more people saw them together, the more undeniable the truth became. By the time the divorce was finalized, the rumors had transformed into certainty. Jay and Anna were no longer whispers in the shadows. They were the scandal everyone was talking about. 3 months of secrets had destroyed a marriage, fueled a media storm, and set the stage for the most shocking twist of all: Jay's decision to marry Anna. Every scandal has more than one perspective, and while Jay Manuel's choices dominated headlines, Pamela Chavez's story was the one that captured hearts. When the divorce was finalized on October 20, 2025, Pamela was left devastated. For years, she had defended Jay against criticism, stood by him through family disputes, and believed their love was strong enough to survive anything. But the truth hit her like a tidal wave. Jay hadn't just left her. He had already chosen someone else. Pamela's heartbreak was raw and visible. Friends described her as shattered but resilient, a woman blindsided by betrayal yet determined not to let it destroy her completely. She had believed in their marriage, fought for it, and sacrificed for it, only to discover that Jay had been living a double life. The public rallied around her. Social media exploded with messages of support, sympathy, and outrage. Fans posted hashtags like #JusticeForPamela and #TeamPamela, turning her pain into a movement. Many accused Jay of being selfish, of abandoning a loyal wife for financial convenience. Others criticized Anna, labeling her as the homewrecker who had stolen Pamela's place. Pamela herself remained dignified. She didn't lash out publicly, didn't engage in mudslinging, and didn't try to tarnish Jay's image. Instead, she spoke softly about her heartbreak, admitting that the betrayal was painful, but insisting she would find strength in moving forward. Her quiet grace only made the public love her more. Behind the scenes, however, Pamela struggled. The realization that Jay had been secretly involved with Anna for 3 months was crushing. Every dinner, every laugh, every whispered moment between Jay and Anna was a knife to her heart. And the fact that Anna had agreed to pay off Jay's $250,000 debt made Pamela feel as though her marriage had been reduced to a transaction. Love replaced by money. The media painted Pamela as the victim of a scandalous love triangle, and in many ways she was. But she was also more than that. She became a symbol of resilience, a reminder that even in the face of betrayal, dignity and strength can shine through. Pamela's side of the story wasn't about revenge. It was about survival. It was about reclaiming her identity after being replaced, about finding her voice after being silenced, and about showing the world that heartbreak doesn't define you, it transforms you. For Jay, the divorce was a step toward Anna. For Pamela, it was the beginning of a painful but powerful journey. And for the public, it was clear. Pamela's heartbreak wasn't just her own. It belonged to everyone who had ever believed in love, only to watch it shatter. Every scandal reaches a moment of truth, the point where secrets can no longer be hidden, and choices must be made. For Manuel, that moment came after months of secrecy, mounting debt, and whispers of betrayal. Pamela Chavez had been his partner for years, the woman who stood by him through family disputes and defended him against criticism. But by late 2025, Jay's loyalty had shifted. The weight of his $250,000 debt and the promise of salvation from Anna tipped the scales. What began as a secret romance had transformed into a lifeline, and Jay knew he couldn't turn back. The decision wasn't easy. Jay understood the consequences: public outrage, Pamela's heartbreak, and the destruction of his carefully crafted image. Yet in his mind, the choice was clear. Anna wasn't just a girlfriend. She was the woman who had offered him freedom. She had listened when he confessed his financial struggles, comforted him when he felt trapped, and ultimately agreed to pay off the debt that haunted him. Pamela, on the other hand, represented the past. A marriage weighed down by family interference, arguments, and mistrust. Jay convinced himself that their love had already faded, that the divorce was inevitable, and that Anna was the future he needed. Friends close to Jay described him as conflicted but determined. He knew the backlash would be brutal, but he believed Anna's support would shield him from the storm. To him, marrying Anna wasn't just about romance. It was about survival, gratitude, and starting over. Pamela's supporters saw it differently. To them, Jay's decision was betrayal in its purest form, abandoning a loyal wife for financial convenience. Social media erupted with criticism, painting Jay as selfish and opportunistic. But Jay didn't waver. He had already chosen his path, and nothing could stop him from walking it. The moment Jay decided to marry Anna marked the true breaking point. It wasn't just the end of his marriage to Pamela. It was the beginning of a scandal that would define his legacy. By choosing Anna, Jay tied his future to the woman who had saved him financially, but also to the controversy that would follow them both. For Pamela, Jay's decision was devastating. For Anna, it was validation. And for the public, it was proof that love, money, and betrayal can collide in ways no one expects. Jay's choice was final. He had chosen Anna over Pamela. And soon, the world would witness the wedding that sealed that decision forever. After months of secrecy, whispers, and betrayal, Manuel made the most shocking move of his life. He married Anna. The wedding wasn't a grand spectacle filled with flashing cameras and celebrity guests. Instead, it was a carefully controlled event designed to keep the media at bay while still making a statement. Jay knew the world was watching, and every detail of the ceremony would be scrutinized. Yet he pressed forward, determined to seal his new future with Ana. For Pamela Chavez, the pain was immeasurable. Just weeks earlier, she had been Jay's wife, fighting to save their marriage despite family disputes and hidden financial troubles. Now she was watching from the sidelines as Jay stood at the altar with the woman who had replaced her. The betrayal wasn't just emotional, it was public, and it was permanent. Ana, on the other hand, radiated confidence. She wasn't just marrying Jay out of love, she was marrying him as the woman who had saved him. By agreeing to pay off his $250,000 debt, Ana had secured her place in Jay's life. The wedding was more than a romantic union. It was the culmination of a deal that intertwined love and survival. Guests described the ceremony as intimate but tense. There was joy in the air, but also a sense of unease. Everyone knew the scandal that surrounded the couple. Everyone knew Pamela's heartbreak. And everyone knew that this marriage wasn't just about romance. It was about the choices Jay had made to escape his past. The media reaction was immediate. Headlines screamed, Manuel marries secret girlfriend Ana, and Pamela Chavez left behind in shocking divorce. Social media erupted with outrage, sympathy, and disbelief. Some fans accused Jay of betraying Pamela for money, while others defended his right to start over. Ana was painted as both savior and villain, the woman who rescued Jay financially, but also the woman who stole him from his wife. For Jay, the wedding was a fresh start. He believed Ana represented stability, loyalty, and a future free from the burdens of debt and family disputes. But for Pamela, it was the final blow, the moment her marriage officially transformed into a scandal that would haunt her forever. The wedding wasn't just a union, it was a turning point. It marked the end of Jay and Pamela's fairy tale, the beginning of Jay and Ana's controversial love story, and the moment the world realized that sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes survival writes the vows. The wedding of Jay Manuel and Ana may have sealed their union, but it also unleashed a storm that neither of them could fully control. The aftermath was immediate, intense, and relentless. Public opinion split sharply. On one side were those who believed Jay had betrayed Pamela Chavez, abandoning a loyal wife for financial convenience. They saw Ana not as a savior, but as the woman who had bought her way into Jay's life. On the other side were those who defended Jay, arguing that love is complicated, that debts can destroy relationships, and that Ana had simply given him the chance to start fresh. The media fed on the scandal. Headlines dissected every detail. The divorce date of October 20, 2025, the 3 months of secret romance, the $250,000 debt, and the whispers of betrayal. Talk shows debated whether Jay's marriage to Ana was genuine or transactional. Social media became a battlefield, with hashtags like hashtag Team Pamela and hashtag Joy and Dana trending simultaneously. Pamela, meanwhile, emerged as the quiet hero of the story. Her dignity in the face of heartbreak won her admiration worldwide. She didn't lash out, didn't seek revenge, and didn't try to tarnish Jay's image. Instead, she focused on healing, showing strength that resonated with fans who saw her as a symbol of resilience. Jay and Ana, however, faced a different reality. Their marriage began under the weight of controversy, with every move scrutinized. Every dinner, every public appearance, every smile was analyzed for signs of authenticity. Was Jay truly in love, or was he simply grateful for Ana's financial rescue? Was Ana a romantic partner, or a strategic solution to Jay's problems? The scandal became more than just a story about 3 people. It became a cultural conversation about love, loyalty, money, and survival. It forced fans to question what they believed about relationships and whether financial struggles can truly justify betrayal. For Jay, the aftermath was a test. Could he rebuild his image, prove his love for Anna, and silence the critics? For Pamela, it was a journey of self-discovery, reclaiming her identity after being replaced. And for Anna, it was the challenge of living in the spotlight, knowing she would forever be remembered as the woman who changed everything. The story of Jay, Pamela, and Anna didn't end with the wedding. It began a new chapter, one filled with questions, doubts, and the lingering shadow of betrayal. And so, we arrive at the end of this dramatic saga. A marriage destroyed, a secret debt revealed, and a new union forged in the midst of scandal. But the story of Jay Manuel, Pamela Chavez, and Anna leaves us with more questions than answers. Was Jay's decision to marry Anna truly about love, or was it about survival? Did Anna save him, or did she buy him? And what about Pamela? Was she simply a victim of betrayal, or was she the stronger one for walking away with dignity? The public may never agree. Some will always see Jay as selfish, others will see him as desperate. Some will view Anna as a savior, others as a manipulator. And Pamela? She will forever be remembered as the woman who stood tall in the face of heartbreak. She stood tall even as Jay walked away, proving that strength can emerge from betrayal. Jay, meanwhile, chose Anna, not only for love, but for survival. And Anna, the woman who stepped out of the shadows, became both savior and villain in the eyes of the public. But what do you think? Was Jay justified in leaving Pamela, given the crushing weight of his $250,000 debt? Did Anna's financial rescue make her the true partner, or did it reduce their marriage to a transaction? Should Pamela's family disputes be blamed for the collapse, or was Jay's secrecy the real cause? And most importantly, is this a story of love, betrayal, or survival? The answers aren't simple, and maybe that's why this story resonates so deeply. It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about relationships, money, and loyalty. It reminds us that behind every glamorous smile, there can be shadows. And it challenges us to ask, what would we do if faced with the same choices? This has been the untold story of Jay and Pamela, and the rise of Anna, a tale of love lost, secrets revealed, and a scandal that will be remembered for years to come. Now it's your turn. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you side with Jay, Pamela, or Anna? Whose story do you believe? And whose choices do you understand? Because in the end, this isn't just their story, it's a reflection of ours. And so, the saga of Jay Manuel, Pamela Chavez, and Anna reaches its conclusion. A marriage once celebrated as perfect collapsed under the weight of family disputes, secrecy, and a hidden $250,000 debt. What began as whispers in restaurants turned into a scandal that shook fans worldwide. Pamela, dignified yet heartbroken, became the symbol of resilience. She stood tall even as Jay walked away, proving that strength can emerge from betrayal. Jay, meanwhile, chose Anna, not only for love, but for survival. And Anna, the woman who stepped out of the shadows, became both savior and villain in the eyes of the public. But the story doesn't end here. It leaves us with questions that linger long after the headlines fade. Was Jay's marriage to Anna truly about love, or was it a transaction born from desperation? Did Anna rescue him, or did she buy her way into his life? Should Pamela's family disputes shoulder the blame, or was Jay's secrecy the true cause of collapse? And most importantly, is this story one of love, betrayal, or survival? The answers may never be clear. What is certain, however, is that this scandal will be remembered as one of the most dramatic twists in celebrity history. It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about loyalty, money, and the choices people make when their backs are against the wall. Now it's your turn. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you side with Jay, Pamela, or Anna? Whose choices do you understand? And whose story do you believe? Because in the end, this isn't just their story, it's a reflection of ours. More update. Jay and Pamela marks history with the first reality series to feature a Black, disabled trans man. Jay and Pamela Season 2. Has TLC renewed it already? Release date and everything to know. And what condition do TLC's Jay and Pamela stars have? Jay and Pamela age. How old is TLC's new star couple? I will explain everything. The show that Jay and Pamela are hosting is changing the face of television. J. Thomas Manuel and his partner Pamela Chavez are the subjects of the show, which is broadcast on TLC every Tuesday at 10/9C. They are the newest members of the TLC family, a couple. They are both affected by osteogenesis imperfecta type 3, a condition that causes bones to be fragile. Their brittle bones are prone to breaking even while they're only walking. Thus, motor wheelchairs are utilized. Because of their collagen insufficiency, Jay and Pamela are already frail. The synthesis of new tissues and the maintenance of a strong body both rely heavily on collagen. Nevertheless, they persist in pursuing a living despite their limitations. Jay and Pamela dated for more than a year after meeting online. Moving in with Jay and his family was the next step for Pamela. Indeed, they exchanged wedding vows. Assuming all goes according to plan, they may also be able to conceive a child. So far, they've got a dog and are documenting history. Jay and Pamela only want to be normal people, but there are a lot of things they can't do. They shopped for groceries not long ago. Things are always out of their grasp. According to Jay, therefore they always have a stick on hand. The individuals in their lives may or may not offer assistance at different times. When Pamela tried to eat onions, she always felt like they were too heavy. Nonetheless, the pair did their utmost to purchase all items on the list. Even Pamela went to fetch some chicken, but it was so high up that she couldn't see it. At last, with a little assistance, they finished their shopping. To our knowledge, no other couple has ever had a reality TV series like Jay and Pamela. Being the first reality show to ever feature a black trans guy with a disability as a lead, the show has created history. Jay is a trans black man and Pamela is a gay Mexican American. They share a disability. They connected over shared interests and goals after meeting online. Their flaw isn't going to stop Jay and Pamela from living their lives to the fullest. The pseudonym Mini Producer is used by Jay, a professional content developer, advocate, and producer. He breaks barriers as the first transgender guy of African descent to host his own reality show. The lead is him. I didn't see individuals like myself as leaders when I was growing up, Jay said. He wished to alter the storyline. Jay is determined to change the media's portrayal of LGBTQ+ and disability identities for the better. The show is more than a series to him. It's a chance to shine. Disability advocacy is another area in which Jay excels. He is proud to be with Pamela, who is a queer woman. She is an advocate for people with disabilities and a first-generation Mexican American. When it comes to fame, they both have similar goals. Even when one of them is sick, that doesn't mean their personal lives are affected. Just like everyone else, they want to lead a normal life. We want to have kids and enjoy, they say. Between the two of them, OI has broken more than 400 bones. Since they have been coping with their ailment since birth, it is considered a lifelong condition. Because their bones are so fragile, people with OI frequently suffer from recurrent bone fractures. People of identity, particularly those on the LGBTQ+ spectrum, are underrepresented in television series. Jay and Pamela Season 2. Has TLC renewed it already? Release date and everything to know. The next season of Jay and Pamela is something fans could never want for more. Jay Manuel and Pamela Chavez's TLC show attracted viewers from all throughout the United States. Everyone is rooting for them after Season 1. They were introduced as a handicapped pair in the pilot as having an incurable, rare form of brittle bone disease. Both Pamela and Jay were born with their disability. Their parents have been informed that their lifespan will be limited to 1 to 5 years at most. Thankfully, their destiny holds a different agenda. Before the series began, the couple had already met and become engaged. They wanted their wedding moments to be truly memorable, so they avoided the trolls. When will TLC make more of them? Each year, TLC adds new series to its lineup. This year's edition, Jay and Pamela, led viewers to believe it was about two small children, but that's not all. The show's synopsis suggested a heartwarming tale in which Pamela and Jay went about their everyday lives together. Osteogenesis imperfecta type III was the first topic covered on that episode. With the exception of Jay and Pamela, no other TLC series has gone into greater detail about the illness. It's a multifaceted disorder with numerous forms. Not all forms of the illness were covered, but it makes thin bones very brittle and easily broken. That's why there have been 400 cases of bone fractures among reality stars thus far. Most of the time, Jay ends up in the hospital. Scoliosis causes lung problems, which Pamela also suffers. One of the most popular episodes on TLC recently was Jay and Pamela. Fans are begging the network to renew it for another season. Following the airing of the series finale, which featured the couple's wedding, the channel decided to cancel the show. The couple finally tied the knot following many trials and tribulations. As the bride and groom, Jay and Pamela have been eagerly anticipating their wedding. The day they fantasized about never truly occurred to them. They worked hard for 5 years to reach this point. They can't wait to share their new union with their loved ones and welcome guests as husband and wife. Pamela was the one who walked down the aisle for Jay, even though her parents were against the marriage. When it comes to season 2, internet users are eager to get their fix now. They might reunite for the next season on TLC, which has seen an uptick in viewers. Therefore, it is likely that the renewal has already done. The wonderful news has not been announced by TLC yet. Additionally, there has been no news update from Pamela and Jay regarding the fans. Plans are still in the works though, because the show just concluded. The happy couple's present life will be shown in the announcement. Troubles will follow them because, unfortunately, life isn't smooth, which will cause additional family strife. What condition do TLC's Jay and Pamela stars have? 2 new celebrities, Manuel and Pamela Chavez, will be appearing on TLC to tell their stories. They share a rare genetic condition that they were born with. The premiere of Jay and Pamela is set for Tuesday, March 4, on TLC. The show will explore Manuel and Chavez's disabilities and their daily life with it. To see all the information we have thus far, scroll down. The brittle bone condition, osteogenesis imperfecta type 3, affects both Manuel and Chavez. The National Organization for Rare Diseases describes OI as a genetic disorder characterized by increased bone fragility, low bone mass, and susceptibility to bone fractures. In an episode sneak peek, Manuel said, "We're both little people." While Chavez was not even anticipated to reach 1 year of age, Manuel was informed that he would not survive past 5 years old. According to Manuel, it can be as simple as rolling out of bed, and the group has experienced more than 400 bone fractures. An excerpt from the Jay and Pamela premiere shows a doctor recommending that the two increase their calcium intake. A higher probability of blood clots is associated with osteogenesis imperfecta. Wound healing issues are more likely to occur, the doctor said, because scoliosis can cause a person to have a relatively limited lung volume. Lung problems are typically the leading cause of death. Tragically, that can cause a blood clot to form, which can then move to the lungs and obliterate them. Manuel said, "We're both 3'4" tall." However, Chavez brought up the fact that their heights are somewhat debatable and asserted that her companion is actually 3'3". "Because we're short, it makes no difference either way," Manuel remarked. In Atlanta, Georgia, the happy couple resides with Manuel's parents. They are now staying in the home's renovated basement, but they are trying to find a permanent residence on the TLC show. Locating an appropriate space can be challenging due to the fact that they rely on power chairs. The couple wants to leave the basement and have their own apartment someday, but they can't agree on where it should be, according to a series news release. After spending so many years in the basement, Pamela is itching to go out of the house and into the city, but Jay is content to remain in the suburbs. But as crippled power chair users, it turns out to be more difficult than anticipated to find any venue that suits their demands. The decision to move out is fully supported by us, as Manuel's father Rafael stated in another segment from the show. If we aren't there, what if something were to happen to them? For that, I feel terrible for them. The wedding preparations of Jay and Pamela are chronicled in Jay and Pamela. Chavez called Manuel her soon-to-be husband in an Instagram picture from January 2024. Still no word on their whereabouts, yet one of Chavez's photos dated January 2025 shows Manuel with a ring on his left hand. Jay and Pamela age. How old is TLC's new star couple? With each new episode of TLC's Jay and Pamela, viewers want to know more about Jay Manuel and Pamela Chavez, including how old they are. Although the duo appears cute together, they have had osteogenesis imperfecta type 3 from birth. Their lives are difficult due to the uncommon inherited brittle bone condition. Pamela and Jay were more vulnerable to bone fractures due to the condition's impact on their bone density. They never allowed themselves to go into a state of melancholy in spite of the difficulties. They relocated from Jay's parents' basement flat to their new home with joy. They are excited to say "I do" to one another as their wedding day draws closer. In the middle of it, they went shopping for their dog Cheddar in order to make her a truly amazing member of the family. Jay and Pamela are a wonderful fit because of their distinct personalities. They are united by their shared laughing and jokes. She doesn't disagree with him in any way, even though he made light of their life. Since the first episode, the two have been quite open about their private evenings. Pamela, a gay woman, and Jay, a trans man, met online. Recently, the TLC stars referred to their sex life as untamed. When they are in the bedroom, they go too far. Jay once used an incident to make fun of Pamela. She urged him to roll in a hay, causing him to experience back discomfort, he remembered. Jay disclosed that he used medicine to fully heal, which saddened Pamela. The Jay and Pamela series is growing in popularity on TLC with each new episode. However, the network originally presented them by displaying their ages and the age difference between them in the trailer and the first episode. In actuality, Jay is 28 years old, and Pamela, his partner, is 30. She is therefore older than he is. Additionally, Jay and Pamela are not the same height. However, considering they are both small individuals, it isn't much. To make it clear that they both fit into the 3'4" category, he is 3 feet 3 inches and she is 3 feet 4 inches. They have already experienced 400 bone fractures as a result of excessive strain. Jay and Pamela are unable to exert as much pressure as other people. The amount of physical effort they had to exert was limited by their limitations. As Pamela explained their illness to the cameras, her parents were informed that she wouldn't live past the age of 5. She would pass away before turning 1 year old, according to another doctor. Despite having a shorter lifespan, Jay and Pamela persevered through all the challenges. The reality stars are committed to succeeding in both their romantic and professional lives. They had already spent 5 years together after being in a long-distance relationship in their early years. Pamela left Missouri and relocated to Georgia when it was no longer feasible to continue. No more today. What are you thinking about this gossip today? Let us know in the comments, and stay tuned by subscribing to our channel to get more updates like this. Thank you.